just for fun, I realized my GoPro is in my bag and I'm riding from Borivali, Daisar actually, to Malad, to Malwani. So I thought, why not get some footage out of it. Unfortunately, the good part of the ride is over. The traffic free. I'm right now rat running the 5 lanes of Malad to get to traffic on the road. So it's going to be very pretty. The main road is going to be at a standstill. This is at least moving, but yeah, it's not going to move very quickly. But yeah, it's a pleasant day. We had a few days of rain, and I think that's kind of dropped the temperature a bit. It is still extremely windy today, but yeah, not as bad as this here in East. It was a few days ago. Actually, that wasn't a few days ago. That was a few weeks ago, because I've actually not been in Mumbai for a while. I just got back on Saturday. But yeah, before I left, it was really bad. And then, yeah, I rode to Kodaikanal, rode back 3/4 of the way, not 3/4, more than, I think, about 80% of the way. Back to Mumbai, and then had the bike trip. In fact, that's why this ride is today. I'm dropping the bike off at the mechanic in Malwani, Cherry Auto, because I think he's probably the only guy who can put this bike right. Because honestly, if he can't, this bike is ready to be scrapped. So, yeah. Which is a shame, because the bike rides tolerably in the city. It only, whatever problem it has, it seems to me to be electrical, but you know, now that I look at how it's riding in the city, hard to say. Basically, the bike starts misfiring after a few hours of riding, and I don't mean a few hours of non-stop riding, like even with like an hour's break or 2 hours break, like you know, you ride for maybe an hour. You ride for half an hour and then you take a half an hour break, you get the bike side again. So this is the first time it died, like while running today. So he doesn't like to talk about this. But yeah, like even with like a decent amount of brake, way more than what I normally would, and way more than this bike really should need, it would still basically get into a mode where it would misfire really badly and have, like obviously it's still not dead, it's still firing, so it would have a very, very, very small amount of power that I could use to kind of ride the clutch. Because if I engage the engine fully, the RPM would be too low to keep the bike going. But if I kept the revs high, I mean, I wouldn't actually, I don't know whether I'm actually keeping the revs high, because the firing was so off that it would feel like, you know, one fire per second. But basically, if I was able to keep the engine going and ride the clutch, I could get to like the nearest safety sort of, like get off the highway, find a mechanic, or worst case find a tea stall where I consider my life choices in the disasters that I've, the quirky decisions that led me to that situation. But yeah, there were times when the bike would just die and absolutely refuse to start. And there was one night when that happened, and I literally, after like half an hour of trying to start the bike, not just me, but couple of other guys on the highway, like the guys who actually work at the petrol pump that I parked it at, they actually like tried to start it, they couldn't, to start it like twice, it just was by and died. So after all of that, I just called it a night, parked the bike in the petrol pump, like literally pushed it to the petrol pump, which was maybe 100 feet away, and then hitched a ride to the nearest town and stayed the night there. And the next morning, called a mechanic. Mechanic went with his assistant to the bike. The bike started. The bike was perfectly. Checked the bike. He said nothing wrong with it. Off you go. And yeah, off I did go. I rode like 200 to 250 kilometers after that. And again it died. So, but then on day 3, it started showing signs of faltering after barely 100 kilometers, and I was like, okay, this is not good, because 300 kilometers, 350 kilometers, that's acceptable. 50 kilometers, okay, that's not great, but it's possible. 100 kilometers, that's when you have to seriously question whether the bike is capable. Because after that 100 kilometers of faltering, there was no guarantee about whether it would run well for 100 kilometers or would that be 100 kilometers and that's it for the day. Because yeah, I was basically 300 kilometers from home. So, and that was, I had precisely 3 days. So it was like, you know, getting closer and closer to being impossible to get to home on time. So yeah, that was another annoying thing. Put the bike on the bus. It was like the bus was supposed to be at 5, and I literally sat there, did not eat, did not do anything because it was like 3. Well, I had a beer, but there were no restaurants open at 3. So once the restaurants reopened, I just sat there doing nothing because there was, well, I thought there was no time, but the bus finally turned up at 7:45, and the bus did not stop at the, you know, the travel and tour shop where I booked it from. It stopped at the petrol pump. Like, it literally passed by the travel and tour center and went straight to the petrol pump. And so I pushed the bike to the petrol pump, and I was under the impression that the bus would be coming back to the travel and tours, but it did not. Okay, I see that. Basically, yeah, it was a very rough day. I was really hungry by the time I got to the bus. The dinner halt was at like 10. It was a pure veg restaurant, and I was extremely hungry. So I just ordered like dal and rice, and yeah, I think I was hungry till I reached home. But at least I managed to get some sleep. And the bus was supposed to reach at like 2 a.m. They reached at about 4:30 a.m. I was home by like 5, and I was awake from like 3 just, you know, because I didn't want to miss my stop. The bus was going to go ahead to Surat, so I didn't want to miss my stop. And then getting the bike out of the bus was another nightmare. Went to my number plate. Thankfully, I thought I might crack the headlights, but I literally, there was a time when literally the entire weight of the bike, it was balancing on the headlights, and I was like, oh no. And so now it's but survive. I haven't really studied the headlight too closely for, you know, what damage it is, but it's still there, it's still working. So quite a nightmare. And to top it all, I forgot my helmet in the bus. and the bus sped off to Surat. I topped up my bike with the petrol, which is another funny story. Like, I basically emptied the tank into 2 3-liter engine oil cans. Now, for some reason, those engine oil cans were not sealed perfectly tight. It's surprising because you would have expected engine oil to be, well, it is a lot more viscous than petrol, but you would have expected it to be manufactured to a decent standard, not have leaks. But yeah, like, and I knew it was leaking because I was in the absolutely last seat of the bus, and I could smell petrol. It wasn't diesel, it was petrol. I knew because the boot was completely empty when they loaded the bike in, that it had to be my petrol. So smelling my own petrol, hoping the bus doesn't go up in flames, because if it did, I'd probably be the first to go. But yeah, when I reached Udupi, the petrol cans were both on their sides, so they would have fallen down somewhere due to journey. Funnily enough, like, I wrapped them up in a plastic bag after putting them in the I stuck both the cans into a plastic bag, and they were still in the plastic bag. The plastic bag was dry, and while the cans were on their side, they were still sort of dry inside the bus, and the petrol fumes stopped like about halfway through the journey. So I don't know what it was, but basically the cans had stopped leaking, and they were virtually full. Like, I couldn't tell the difference in sort of levels. Maybe like 10 mil, 20 mil. It was not noticeable at all. So I don't know where the petrol went, where the petrol came from, but yeah. So in the process of all that, I forgot my helmet in the bus, and the bus was on its way to Surat, and that's when I realized I had nobody's phone number. Like, the only phone number I had was of the travel agent, and that was because I took a photo of his shop signage. Tell people, like, if you ever need to transport a bike from Harad to Mumbai or Pune or wherever, even Gujarat, he's expected. And he probably thought he was from Kolhapur or whatever. So that was the only reason I had his number. Like, the booking was done partly in cash and partly with the online payment. So I didn't have any of his details. The rest of the payment was the bus. I didn't have bus driver's details. I literally didn't even know the name of the company of the bus. Like, it said Patel, but Patel is obviously a very common surname in Gujarat. And there were 2 Patel travels that ran between Kolhapur and Gujarat, whatever, Surat. So I was really scared that I would have lost my helmet. But I mean, thankfully the travel agent, I was able to contact him. He got the bus driver. He got the main office's number. The main office then passed me on the bus conductor's number, and then the bus conductor basically passed me out. So that was a day. That was the next day. So I was up till 5 a.m. the next day as well. Yeah, thankfully uneventful after that. Like, the bike was leaking oil a bit, but when I tested the bike yesterday at the mechanic here, he said the oil's fine. So yeah, here I am, Ferry Auto. Unfortunately, shop's closed. I need to call him up, so I'm gonna have to hang up. But here I am, off Kali goes for getting whatever TLC he needs, and then we'll know in a few weeks. So that's for this India trip. That's the last ride on Kali for this India trip.